10 months ago, I posted a video. I think the caption is Road to 2027, One Nigeria Meets No Nigeria, Parts 1 and 2. That video was a follow-up to another one that I had made before then, where I explained to us that the game being played in Nigeria is very historic in nature. I explained to us that the power brokers are no longer the Northerners. I explained to us that there is a massive power shift taking place in Nigeria because we've only known one pattern. And that pattern is that the power brokers were the Northerners. That pattern is that the colonial power was concentrated around the caliphate in the north. The colonial power was concentrated in the north, so the Northerners became the face of the colony. I explained all this in these videos. You need to go watch others. I don't have to repeat myself. I explained that that is now changing actively with Bola Tinubu in power. The power structure in Nigeria is shifting from the north going to the west. The Yorubas now become the official power brokers on behalf of the colonial powers. The caliphate and the Northerners are no longer going to be the active holders of the colonial torch in Nigeria. It is the Yorubas who will now hold the torch. I told you that in the video, and I told you to watch out that APC will be hijacked by, I told you I created a picture. The north is now this way, the south is this way. And I said to you, that APC has been hijacked as the vehicle with which they are going to achieve their southern agenda. Okay? Because now South is being consolidated as one block that will be able to stand against the North. And if possible, stand alone if care is not taken. And I said that APC will be the vehicle they will use. They will hijack it and use it to achieve that. And I told you to watch out that nearly all your governors in southern Nigeria, including Southeast, will become APC. I said it 3 months before they began to jump in. Go and check my video. I put it there. I told you. 3 months. And suddenly, you can see what has happened. Apart from, other than Abia State, all of them, including Soludo, is already an APC man. Forget about whether he's just telling you Abga or not Abga. All of them have gone in. Delta, everybody is in APC. And so here's what's going on. So I need to make it clear to you. So there are 3 different paradigms that they are using for this game. Okay? There is a political dimension to it. There is a traditional and cultural dimension. And there is a religious dimension. For the first time in a very long time, that is, if not for the first time at all, southern state governors came together and had a meeting. And that meeting took place in Ogun State. We're trying to look at the political now, right? When we talk about southern governors, we're talking about southeast, we're talking about south-south, we're talking about southwest. I don't remember the last time in my life that these guys met and became so close together and had a meeting like they did in Ogun State recently. That means the bloc is forming politically and it is consolidating. APC that has now taken over almost everywhere in the south, it is no longer just alone that the governors met and they have their agenda they discuss. APC now becomes the bloc that has consolidated these people under one umbrella. So any agenda that the South has now, politically speaking, it will sail through because they have one single political vehicle to drive it, which is APC. Now, the next one is traditional. This one you must pay very close attention. Until recently, the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, is recognized as the permanent co-chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria. And the chairman has been who? The Sultan of Sokoto. I hope somebody's paying attention. The permanent chairman has been the Sultan of Sokoto. Oh, they have been the co-chairman, permanent. This is why when Prince Charles came to Nigeria years ago as a prince, they did something which I broke down and explained in a video I made many years ago then when it happened. They brought chairs for Prince Charles then to sit down with the traditional rulers. He had, I think, the Sultan of Sokoto on his right. He had Ooni of Ife on his left. And the Obi of Onitsha, who should be the first-class chief representing the Igbos, was put far behind him, not even on the same line with the other chiefs. He was put behind because he's not part of that arrangement. Because you don't understand that the monarchy that the Ooni of Ife represents, that the Sultan of Sokoto represents, are directly flowing from the monarchy of England. It is the British monarchy that midwives and oversees these two. And because the British monarchy oversees them, and the Igbo people do not believe in monarchies, they don't believe in you one person coming to say one thing and everybody will agree. Our people do not have a chair on the top table, on the high table. So our own Obi was put way behind with all the other chiefs under normal circumstances. The three biggest tribes we have in Nigeria, Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. How come you have Hausa represented, you have Yoruba represented, but Igbo is put behind? Because we don't have that tradition in our place. The British use these monarchies to push their agenda at the grassroots level. That's what these people are there for. Now, this is what just happened to prove to you that a geopolitical tectonic shift is taking place in Nigeria. And remember that when I made those videos, I told you why the North was being punished, why they are relocating the power structure from the North to the Yoruba land. I told you that it was because of that time when there was a protest and Russian flags were seen all over the place. So the British found out that the Northerners were now secretly planning to align with Russia, and they saw that as a betrayal. And they are completely stripping them of everything and relocating it to the West. And Tinubu became the man who received that relocated power structure from the North. Now, to prove to you that all of these are connected, Ooni of Ife, who is a co-chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, suddenly has been made a chairman of what they call the Southern Traditional Rulers Council. Life chairman, permanent chairman. So they've extracted him from there and now made him a chairman. So they've created a Southern. Now we have Southern governors. They've met almost for the first time and they had a meeting. And then we have a party for Southerners officially now, which is APC. And then you now have traditionally an extrication of the Oba or Ooni of Ife from the National Council, where he was co-chairing with Sultan of Sokoto. Now he is now having his own stool as the permanent chairman of the new emerging Republic of Southern Nigeria, if you want. And they are making him the permanent. And when this was announced, there was a lot of anger and confusion when they had their first major meeting in Abuja. And I'm going to read you a few things to understand what is going on. Because the British people know that as they are about to move and create a new geographical expression that is loyal to them, which is Southern Nigeria, which will not have anything to do with Russia as they have imagined it, they want to make sure that the British monarchy still has direct control over every living thing that exists within that hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere. That's why they have to bring up the issue of Ooni of Ife becoming the permanent chairman of the Southern Traditional Rulers Council, so that they can control everything and everyone at the grassroots level. Because when they control from the political arena, they also want to have grassroots access. The Yorubas don't joke with their kings. The Hausas don't joke with their kings. And this is to the benefit of the British. So when the politicians are saying whatever they are saying, you don't know that the strongest statements are made by the ones who are the traditional rulers. because even the politicians bow to the traditional rulers. But in Igbo land, it's not like that. So now they've created something to find a way to rope Igbos into it so that the British can have direct control over the grassroots of people in Igbo land. Let me read to you what happened at the meeting. I can't read a lot of it, but this is one Eze. One Eze who disagreed once they announced the thing. The man is called Eze Ogunechendo of Ezama Kingdom. He said, while Eze Ogunechendo, Ezama Kingdom, Dr. Lawrence Abuzu, who spoke at the first National Traditional and Religious Leaders Summit held at the State House, maintained there was no such group as the Southern Traditional Rulers Council. He said there was no such.
They were talking about Southern Traditional Rulers Committee on Health, and the eminent professor Patel was saying that this will become an annual event, what we are doing today, if I heard him correctly. The truth of the matter is that there is nothing like Southern Traditional Rulers Council.
If such a council was so prominent and popular, how can people who are attending the meeting be saying there's nothing like that? So they are now beginning to learn about it for the first time. So this Dr. Lawrence Abuzu said there was no such, and then the traditional ruler of Arochukwu Kingdom in Abia State, Dr. Eberechukwu Kanoji Eberechukwu Eze Aro the 9th or something, who doubles also as publicity secretary of the council, insisted that the group was inaugurated some time ago in Oyo State. This is an Abia chief that is now insisting that the group exists, that they inaugurated it in Oyo State. Was it inaugurated for Yoruba people or was it inaugurated for Southern Nigeria? Now, the Abuzu man, Dr. Lawrence Abuzu, who said it doesn't exist, now said,
if you come here at party and you give money to people on that basis, it's not correct. The South is not the North. We have a system. We need unity in diversity. So that people, so if you want to deal with us in the Southeast. If you have resources for us, give it to us. Don't give it to people who come and say we are Southern Traditional Rulers Council. Democracy is a representative government. And anybody who goes to present himself without his people is not democratic.
This is an Igbo king saying, we don't understand this. There is nothing wrong with diversity. Why the Yorubas are bowing to the king and the Igbos are standing shoulder to shoulder with their own. Let there be diversity. Don't come and impose your way of life to us. You can't change who we are. But the British will feel uncomfortable if they have a monarchy in their so-called imagined Southern New Republic, and that monarchy is not in control of everybody at the grassroots. They will not feel comfortable. That's why they created this. And our Igwe from Aro is rushing in and then defending it all over the place. Does not have any idea what the agenda is and what is behind all of this. It is control. Absolute control for Southern Nigeria. That's what this is all about. The same Dr. Lawrence went further to tell Oni that your Imperial Majesty, look at, they even call them Imperial Majesty. You know where Imperial is from? This is what I was telling you. He called him and said, your Imperial Majesty, you are about to go and confer on Sunday Igboho a very, very high level chieftaincy title. But you guys are there knowing that Sunday Igboho is a counterpart to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You guys are there watching Nnamdi Kanu languish in a prison for just what he said. You are watching terrorists being released who are killing people. But Nnamdi Kanu, nobody is saying anything to bring him out. How is this possible? How can the Arab king come out and tell our people that Ooni of Ife has said something and that they must bow to? Igbos don't do that. It's not disrespect. It is who we are. It is why people were taking slaves from Africa. Everybody was bowing and surrendering. When it got to the turn of the Igbos, they took them there from Anambra State. When they go to the Dunbar Creek, they say, you cannot take us as slaves. The people revolted, overpowered the captains, capsized the ship, held their hands, walked into the water, and then they sank to their death and committed mass suicide. Look up. It is called Igbo landing. Go to your Google and type Igbo landing. It is who the people are. They don't bow to anybody. President Diaro does not understand what he's doing. It is not being politically correct. Stick with who you are. The day you lose the identity you have, that you were born with, the day you lose who you are, that day you stop existing. People are better at being who they were born to be. If I say Yoruba man behaving not like a Yoruba man, I'll be afraid of him. If I say Hausa man behaving like, I will be afraid. Be who you are. Be authentic. Be original. When you hear about women riot, it is resistance because our people don't bow to anything. You hear about Ekumeku and you think it's a joke. Go and read about the war of Ekumeku. The same thing. It's there in the DNA. But the British, who are masters of control, know that they will lose that control immediately if they don't have control of the grassroots, which they want the Ooni of Ife to spearhead in southern Nigeria. Because now the southern Nigeria is emerging as the new enclave of total subjugation and loyalty to the crown. This is what is happening in Nigeria. That's why Timi Frank, the former deputy publicity secretary or so of APC, recently alleged that Tinubu will relocate the capital from Abuja to Lagos if he wins 2027 election. He alleged, he's there in the open. Of course, my sister Bianco debunked and said it's a lie. But how can you know whether it's a lie or not if we haven't seen 2027 yet? Because everything is going to Lagos. Everything is going to Lagos. And now, let's go to the religious aspect of this that will shock many of you.
It's not about ransom. They just want to pass a message. We can come in. We can do what we need to do. And there are some hardliners in this government that are sponsoring this kind of narratives. They just want to show that they can Islamize this country. They think about Taliban. They think about the Mujahideens, and they want to replicate it in this country. And they don't care what happened. They simply don't care. As long as at the end of the day, there's Sharia, and there is whatever thing they have in their head, they want to achieve. So these people that are sending messages are sponsored by Nigerians. You remember this Boko Haram issue started since 2012. Yeah. And I was in the military intelligence that time. We arrested those people. It is my organization that actually conducts interrogation and interview. And they mention names. I mean, I can't come on the air and start mentioning names of people that are presently in government now that I know. Presently in government. That the boys that we arrested mentioned. Some of them are governors now. Some of them are in the Senate. Some of them are in Aso Rock. The intention is to Islamize Nigeria and practice Sharia. And it doesn't matter if some people die. It doesn't matter if you're embarrassed. It doesn't matter if our economy has degenerated. Look at the interest rate. Look at the inflation rate. Look at the debt profile of Nigeria. They don't care. As long as at the end, the Quran is at the sea. So some people in this country have this mindset. And we must tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't tell it, you die. Some people have this mindset to Islamize the nation, and they are in the government, and people know them. The DSS know them, the NIA know them, the DIA knows them. You can't succeed without an inside person. And this attack you saw has insiders collaboration.